Naomi Jackson is suing her former roommate, Gianna Rodriguez, for property damage caused by Gianna's 5-year-old son.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 3083, Jackson versus Rodriguez.
Thank you. Miss Jackson, you have your own home?
I do.
You own the home or rent it?
I own it.
You have a mortgage?
No.
You and the defendant met, you became friends, and you invited her and her 5-year-old child, who she shares custody with the father, to live with you and share expenses.
Yeah.
When did you do that?
She was a tenant of mine, is how we met. That was 2 years ago, back in 22. And it was her boyfriend that I rented to. Okay, about
That's not that far afield.
She wanted to move out of where she was living because school's got to start. And I said, well, why don't you come live with me? I have a 6-bedroom house. I live by myself. So I said, well, why don't you come live with me? So spurred the moment.
When did she come to live with you?
2022, January, February?
No, it was...
Shh. In 2022, the beginning of 2022?
23, sorry.
23?
Yes. 22 when she was a tenant.
No, 23 she came to live with you.
With me, correct.
And where are you living now?
I now live with my cousin somewhere else.
Since when?
Since June.
Is that when you had this disagreement?
Yeah, when we got into the argument and I told her
Okay.
what I was going to
And this is what you got into an argument about. Now, Ms. Jackson, it is your claim that the defendant's 5-year-old, who she was not supervising adequately, got into your bedroom, and in your closet you kept your old breast implants, ones that you had had removed because you got different ones.
Correct.
And you kept them for no particular reason. You weren't using them again. It's a sentimental reason that you kept the breast implants. And it is your claim that her son got into the room, got into the box where you kept them, took it and was playing with it with the dog, and they were destroyed.
Correct.
Okay, and you want her to pay for the breast implants.
Absolutely.
Why?
Well, because why not? I mean, they were my breast implants.
Yeah.
Those are my property.
Yeah. How much did you pay for them?
The time when I did that surgery,
yes,
I paid $3,500. But I paid by surgery to get them taken out. I paid $4,000.
No, but you
the new ones put in.
I'm just talking. I don't care taking them out. That has no relevance to this whatsoever. So you paid $3,500 for them. When? What year?
I did them back in 2000. So those silicone, I did back in 2012.
Okay. So now they're teenagers.
Who's teenagers? Oh.
Breast implants.
Yes. No, I had it for 7 years.
So you replaced them after 7 years. So you replaced them in 2019.
Yes, the current ones I have now. I got those taken out
just
2019.
So you replaced them in 2019.
Yes.
And you want the original cost of them.
Sure.
Okay, well, you don't get that. Now, you want to tell me this incident happened in June. Let's just be quick about it, please, because I have other things to do today. You heard some noise.
You said the original cost.
You heard,
it's not like the value of them went down. If anything, it's higher to get them replaced, the silicone implants.
Sound ridiculous. It was in June of this year that this incident occurred?
It happened in May.
23.
Okay. And you heard some noise, and when you looked outside, when you looked in the house, you found her son playing with your dog?
I was sitting down watching TV.
And?
Behind me, her son was playing with the dog. He kind of sit next to me, and he was playing with some slime. And I'm like, what is that? I didn't want it on the couch. So I said, what is that? He said, Daisy busted the ball. I said, give me that ball, because like I said, I didn't want it all over the place, all over the couch. And it was my breast implant.
Okay. And where had they been?
They were in my closet in a medical sealed bag.
Okay. Now, did Miss Jackson tell you about what happened that day?
No, she never once, Your Honor, mentioned that she had silicones in a bag. Not to mention that they were in a closet, reachable for a 5-year-old child to get to.
My closet.
Plus.
My closet.
No. And plus, my dog is there, too. Not to mention, if they busted, something could have happened to him.
That's a shoulda, woulda, coulda. There isn't a question, Miss Rodriguez, in your mind that due to your 5-year-old's actions, she lost a piece of her property.
Yes.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So now we have to put a value on that piece of property, which is not $3,500. So you kept these breast implants, which you cannot use again because they can't be used again. You kept them for sentimental reasons.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And they can't be replaced for sentimental reasons. Once they're gone, correct? Once they're gone, they're gone. I mean, if sentimental, you can't reuse them. You can't resell them. They are of no...
Resell them. I mean, I could probably reuse them if I wanted to.
Oh, I don't think you can.
And later today,
Mr. Drake says that you were friends. You describe him as a Sancho.
A Sancho.
What is that?
I guess people call it friends with benefits nowadays.
So are you suggesting that he had benefits?
Oh, yeah.
Naomi Jackson is accusing her former roommate, Gianna Rodriguez, of refusing to pay for her old breast implants after Gianna's 5-year-old son destroyed them.
Now, you can't reuse them. You can't sell them. You can't turn them back to the manufacturer.
I paid for them.
I understand that you paid for them. Let's say you had a car and the car was unusable, but you know, you had gotten it from a parent, from an old boyfriend, from somebody, so you kept it in the garage. It couldn't be sold, it couldn't be driven. You kept it because you liked to look at it. And let's say her son, instead of your breast implants, got into the car and got bubble gum on the seat. Is he going to pay for the car? It's unusable, it's undrivable, it's incapable of being traded, negotiated for anything. It may have sentimental reason for you, but it has no extrinsic value to anybody else. So what do you think you're entitled to for losing?
It has value to everything else, but it has value to me, and it cost me money to get it.
Okay.
So I don't agree with just like...
Very good.
So just let it
Very
go.
good. Your son should not have destroyed her property. Do you understand?
Correct.
Whether it was negligence on your part for not watching the 5-year-old, I don't know. You don't keep an eye on a 5-year-old all the time. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1. Thank you very much. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
$1? I paid $4,000 for my breast implants. $1?
I am happy today. I am thankful that it was in my favor for the dollar.
So I can go bust people's implants and don't have to pay for it?
I'm pretty sure it was silicone, and that's toxic. It's poisonous. So I'm just thankful that my dog and my child wasn't harmed.
I'm very upset.
Well, she was pretty upset.
$1 for my breast implants, I paid $4,000. I'm very angry.
If you left them in the closet, it's like a pair of shoes in the closet. They're just sitting there waiting to be played with.
Ridiculous.
All right.
Navas Sr. is suing his son, Marvin Navas Jr., for bail and attorney fees after his son was arrested.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 3087, Naves versus Naves.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How old are you, Mr. Naves?
25.
How long have you been living at home with your mother and father?
All my life.
Are you still living there?
Not right now at the moment, no.
Where are you living?
With my grandma in Van Nuys.
And you left because you had a disagreement with your father.
A huge argument, yes, ma'am.
Some time ago, you're going to tell me the date, police stopped you in your car, correct?
Correct.
On what date was that?
About 2 years ago, Super Bowl Sunday, on February 14th.
On Valentine's Day,
I believe so, ma'am.
2022.
2022, yes.
And you were stopped because, according to what I read, you were smoking, but you must have been smoking something other than cigarettes.
Marijuana, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Okay. In what state do you live?
California.
Was smoking marijuana in a car? You were the driver of the car, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Is that illegal in the state of California?
I believe so.
I would say so, just like you can't have a bottle of vodka and drinking it while you're driving. And when the police stopped you for committing a crime, which endangered a lot of people because, you know, when you're not totally together, you're not supposed to be driving a car, they found 2 handguns.
Correct.
Who else was in the car? It's not funny. I happen to not think it's funny. I know that you think it's funny, but it's not funny.
I mean, I got off scot-free, so I'm not facing 10 years,
How
ma'am.
many other people were in the car?
I believe 4 other people had a full car.
You know how many other people were in the car. You were driving.
I just said 4, ma'am.
4 others.
Yeah, full car.
And where were the guns found, sir?
I don't know. I was not the police, so.
No, but you were in the car. Don't be a wise guy with me, because I eat people like you for breakfast. I don't think you're either cute or accomplished. You're neither cute or accomplished.
I know I'm
At
cute.
age 25,
I know
you don't
I'm
live
cute.
on your own. You either live with your mother or your father. Then when they throw you out, you go and live with your grandmother. I neither think that you're cute or accomplished. Maybe young girls do. I'm an old lady. I fail to see your attractiveness, and I fail to see how any of this is funny.
You ever see my smile, man? That's pretty attractive.
It depends. Let me ask around. You find that attractive? No. Whitney, you're younger than I am, a little bit older than Sarah. You find that attractive?
They want to keep their job.
It's not only not attractive, but when your grandmother watches that, she's going to think you're a fool, along with a lot of other people. And it's going to be my joy, my absolute joy, to fill in the blanks. So you don't know where the 2 other guns were found, and everything got thrown out. So now you have no adult criminal record.
Correct.
Did you have a juvenile criminal record? Answer the question. Did you have a juvie record? Of course you did. You know everything. Wise guys like you always have a juvie record. So when they booked you, they put you in jail. Now, as a juvie, you had been taken into custody before, but I don't think that you had been put in an adult kind of situation, in an adult facility. So let me ask you a question. Did you call your girlfriend?
Nope.
Did you call your priest?
Nope.
Did you call your family physician?
Nope.
Yeah, I'll assume, for the record, Whitney, I'm going to assume that this accomplished 25-year-old who lives under the auspices of his parents or his grandma doesn't know how to say no, or no, ma'am, or no, Your Honor. He says no. I assume, sir, that you are not a graduate of any university.
Nope.
No. See. So you didn't call any of those people. They gave you a phone call. Who did you call?
I called my dad, tell him to get me out.
Just a second. You called your dad. 24 years old, and I live with you. I was smoking in the car, and they called me over, and they had 2 guns, and I'm in jail now. Yeah. What did you call your father for?
To get me out.
Why?
It's his job to protect me, right? You have kids, ma'am?
What?
You have kids, ma'am?
5 and 13 grandchildren, 1 great-grandchild. And I want to tell you something. This is one of them. And the last person they would call, any of them, if they got pulled over smoking a joint and there were guns found, the very last person that they would call is me. That's the very last person they would call. And they actually consider me a pretty good mother and grandmother. But they know you're going to act like a fool, call somebody else. So you called your daddy. You called your daddy. No, you called your daddy.
My father.
You called your daddy and you said, "Come and get me out." And he did. And he got you out. He paid a bail bondsman, which is what this case is about. You think this was going to be easy? Not easy. You don't mind my doing that to him, do you?
No, ma'am.
Great. Are you his mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Is he your only son?
He's my only son.
He's your only son. I could tell. I could tell. It's nothing against you, but you can always tell when a little boy has been pampered by his mother and thinks that he's the cat's meow, even though he's unaccomplished. And he got you out, and he got you a lawyer. And that's what this case is about, Mr. Navas.
Yes, ma'am.
This is about the bail and the money that you spent on a lawyer.
That he spent.
Don't speak.
That he spent.
If you speak, unless I speak to you, sir, I'm going to throw you out. Do you understand?
Sorry,
or I'm going to tell Kevin to put you in your seat.
Sorry, ma'am.
Very good. So when I speak to you, like I did before, you can answer me. Now I'm speaking to your daddy. You got a tax return.
Of a senior. claims his son, Marvin Novice Jr., owes for the cost of bail and attorney fees after his son was arrested for illegal firearms.
Okay, so you are suing him for the $2,800 or whatever it was for the bail bondsman, and you also paid an attorney $14,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when you paid this money to the lawyer and to the bail bondsman, what kind of work was your son doing?
Before that, he was working for a security company.
As a what?
In the warehouse.
So he was working at a minimum wage kind of job.
Yes, ma'am.
And so you knew that he didn't have $14,000 or $16,000. You knew that he didn't have that. And he's living with you instead of living on his own because he's not even earning enough money to have his own apartment or to pay for his own gas, electric, utilities, water, heat, air conditioning. So he's living in his room, in his old room.
Yes, ma'am.
Ultimately, the case was dismissed.
It's not completely dismissed, ma'am. The statute of limitation hasn't expired.
So is the case still pending?
Yes, because I have this email that...
Can I see what he's got?
Yes, ma'am.
So the case has not been dismissed?
No, ma'am.
The DA just hasn't filed on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, got it now. Okay, so I can't ask him anything else about these pending charges because right now his attorney's not here, and his attorney would not like for me to do that. Now, was your son still working in the warehouse when you had this incident with him that caused him to move out?
No, not when he moved out, ma'am. No.
Where was he working?
He wasn't. He got laid off.
When did he get laid off?
I gotta say, probably like August.
August of 2023?
2022.
22? Oh.
That's 23, actually. 23, actually.
Well, but this is interesting, sir.
That's all right.
Because you say in your complaint that the charges were fully dropped against him in March of 2023, but that's not so.
That's what I assume, ma'am.
Well, no, but there wasn't, not according to this letter.
No, the reason I got that email from the lawyer, ma'am, is because I reached out to her to ask her about the bail bond exoneration letter, because my name was on the bail bond, and then that's when she sent that email stating that.
Okay, so now I want you to tell me, sir, you see, the boy says that he never had an agreement with you.
Never did.
To pay. He never had an agreement with you to pay you back. And that what you did because he's your son and you're his father. And the reason that you threw him out of the house was that you came home from work one day. What kind of work do you do?
I'm in sales, ma'am.
That you came home from work one day, he was not working, and he was, according to you, according to your papers, he was lying on the couch and smoking marijuana.
Well,
that's what you say here.
Yeah, what happened, ma'am, is it was on a weekend. I was drinking a beer, and he went out. He left, came back, and he smelled like marijuana in front of me. And I said, then that's when I asked him. I go, if you got money to buy marijuana, how come you're not making me whole on this? You made some payments on this because when he filed his income taxes on the years before, we will keep his returns to put towards what he owned.
Just a second. Is what you're telling me that you had an agreement with him for when he got a refund on his taxes that he would give you that money?
He was making payments before.
He was making payments?
Yes, ma'am.
How much did he make in payments?
He made a total of about $2,500.
Can I see the document that you're looking at?
Yes.
Okay. This says that you did, in fact, make some payments to your father. Income tax return, and that was in April of 2023 that you did, in fact, make a payment to him of $1,222. Is that correct?
I believe so. If it says
Just
right
a second. I'm asking you a question, boy.
If it says right there, I don't recall that, so.
Okay. Do you recall that you got a refund on your taxes.
Maybe. It could have been a stimulus check. I don't know.
All right, well, I can see I'm not getting anywhere with you because you're a moron. And what you really don't know, sir, is how to read the room. And, you know, sometimes people learn that when they're very young. Sarah learned how to read the room when she was 3. Doesn't require an education. It requires listening to what's going on around you. So if you listen to what I was asking you before, it's perfectly logical that your father might think that because you had money to go out and buy weed, you should be paying him. But in reality, he had no expectation of being repaid because you had either no job or a low-paying job. That's a perfectly reasonable thing for me to think as a parent. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But when I ask you, and I'm sure that you remember because we're not talking about something that happened 10 years ago, but a few months ago, you got a tax return, $1,200, and you gave it to your father. That's either a yes or a no. That's not I don't remember. I don't remember means that you're dull-witted. Are you dull-witted?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You're not dull-witted. You're a wise ass, but you're not dull-witted. Then you made several other payments. In April of 2022, you again gave your father $1,123. Does that sound familiar?
Nope.
No.
He could have typed that up yesterday.
He could have. Just a second. He could have. So what you're telling me is that you never made any payments to your father. Is
Not that I recall, ma'am.
No, that's not an I don't recall. That means...
He's accusing his son, Marvin Navas Jr., for refusing to pay back bail money and attorney fees after his son was arrested.
Now, if you in fact made payments to him, you would know. I don't remember exactly what they were, but I did pay him some money when I could, when I was working, or when I got my tax return. You're a wise guy, but you're not dull-witted. So I want you to think hard. Don't give me I don't remember. Did you or did you not give your father your income tax refund in 2022 and 2023?
Yes.
Perfect. That's all we need to know. Now I know that you're just a wise guy, but you're not dull-witted. Okay. So actually, the junior...
Not a junior.
You are his junior. Your last name is Navas?
Navas.
Navas. Well, he's the senior here today. You're the junior.
If you say so, ma'am.
Yes, I do say so. And I have to tell you, sir, that but for the fact that your son has acknowledged that he turned over to you his income tax returns as partial payment for this lawyer, I would actually dismiss your case. I'm telling you, I would dismiss your case. Because you actually did what a parent is supposed to do when their ne'er-do-well kid acts like a moron, smokes dope in a car with 4 other morons, 2 of whom have guns. You know? But you don't want him to go to prison, and you've probably gone to pick him up at police stations before.
Yes, ma'am.
When he was young. Now he's getting older. The only thing that I can suggest to you is, despite the fact that your wife adores him, you know, he's her baby, you have to let him stand on his own because he's a wise guy. And somebody's going to hurt him one day.
And that's...
Ooh.
Somebody's going to hurt him one day.
Ooh.
That's
Yeah,
that's my
that kind
biggest
of
fear.
wise guy always gets himself into trouble. Always. But for these 2 payments, I would have dismissed your case. However, he did make 2 payments, which he acknowledges, so the debt is real. He acknowledges that it was a debt by making 2 payments. Do you have the bill from the lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it.
Here's the bill. Here's the receipt. And this is what we paid.
May I see the bill for the bail bondsman?
Yes, ma'am. Here's the bondman bill. And then this is the email that will correspond with the stuff with the lawyer. I got you an email that...
Okay. Is he living with your mother or your wife's mother?
My mother.
Your mother.
Yes, ma'am.
How does she feel about that?
She loves me.
Shh. I didn't ask you anything.
You know, she loves him. She's torn up.
Does she have anybody else living with her?
My brother.
And to the best of your knowledge, is your son working now?
No, I don't know. I haven't spoken to him since May. This is the first time I've seen him.
Are you currently employed?
I'm looking for work. No, I'm not employed right now. I'm looking for work.
Okay. Well, in case you find work, I'm entering a judgment on behalf of your father for $10,000, which is the court's legal limit. He paid the lawyer a minimum of $10,000, and he paid the bail bondsman. I would hope that your legal case ends well for you, sir.
Appreciate it, ma'am.
I do hope it ends well. And it seems to me that you have certain innate intelligence. If you waste it, it's your life that you're wasting, nobody else's. We're done here. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
I don't think it was fair. You know, my dad spent his own money. He paid the lawyer himself. He got the bail bonds himself. I just made one call when I was in jail.
I was very happy with it. I needed to have this foreclosure.
I believe he was my dad. It was obligations to, for his son to just get me out. I don't think I owe him a dime.
Well, if that's what he thinks. What can I do? All he can do is be a father.
He's not really a crier like that. So for him just to fake cry in front of the judge, I think it's ridiculous.
I just didn't want him to go and be in a situation that it'll be worse for him.
To be honest, I won't speak to him for a very long time. If we reconcile, we reconcile, but my focus is just my 3 girls, my mom, my 2 little sisters.
And hopefully our relationship can move on and get better.
I'm cute, but not going to jail, man.
It's just tough love, and I just got to learn that, deal with it as they come and be prepared.
Sometimes I take for granted the legalese and the elements that are in the background of my mind when we listen to litigants out here. Because I know for you and for me, as soon as we heard that he made just one payment, that's acknowledgement of the debt. And therefore, he knew it wasn't just his dad being the best dad in the world, getting him out of jail, but a loan and an acknowledgement of a debt if he paid one payment. He didn't know that. He thought that it was going to be great for him that he paid. I paid him. I gave him the money. The rest of it was just him being a good dad. So he didn't know which way to go. He didn't know which way was up or down. He didn't know what was good for him, bad for him. But
what I found interesting about that young man is he clearly intelligent.
Sure.
And he spoke too much out of turn, but he was clearly articulate. Life is a journey. It has a beginning, a middle, and unfortunately for everybody, it has an end. In between is your journey. And that is a wasted journey because he's just a wise guy.
Yeah.
And he's not taking advantage of these wonderful innate gifts that he has of being able to communicate and being nice looking and looking healthy. Just a waste.
Yeah.
And it's really too bad because the journey is finite. What you do with it is yours.
Taylor is suing his former friend, Sabra Crockett, for the cost of a van.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case 3065, Taylor versus Crockett.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Taylor,
Yeah.
I read your complaint. I have several questions.
Okay.
When was the last time you owned a car in your name?
October of last year.
What kind of car did you own?
2010 Lexus.
What happened to that car?
The upper and lower control arms were broke, and I couldn't drive it because I felt that it was too unsafe.
How long did you have that car?
About 4 months.
Was it insured?
Yes.
By whom?
I don't have the name of the insurance company with me, but it was insured.
Prior to that, you had that car for 4 months. What was the car you had previous to that?
Previous to that, 2000 Cadillac SDS.
On either of these cars that you had, either the Cadillac or the Lexus, had you accrued tickets and fines?
Yes.
How much?
I believe my tickets are around a couple thousand.
On both of those cars?
No, not on those cars, some cars prior.
I'm talking, well, you couldn't have registered either one of those cars, sir, if you had $2,000 in fines on other cars.
I have a photograph of the picture of the registration.
Of what?
To the Lexus on my phone.
Did you pay the $2,000 in fines on previous cars?
No.
No. Now we can get started with this case.
Okay.
This case says that you purchased a van. For whatever reason, you purchased the van. The defendant was a friend of yours. You asked to put the van in her name.
She asked.
No, that's not right, dear.
Okay. Go ahead.
Get it together, sir.
All
Would you
right.
please? I'm going to be respectful to you. You be respectful to me.
Amen.
Good. You asked to put the car in her name because you had unpaid fines and tickets and couldn't have it in your own.
Okay.
That's not an okay. That is a
yes.
yes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, just as long as we're getting it together.
Okay.
And she did. You bought the van. You paid $2,400 for it.
No, ma'am.
How much did you
The
pay
total
for it?
price, I have the bill of sale here. Evidence.
It says here in your complaint, sir, I paid $2,500 for the van.
Yes, I made a payment on the van since then of
May I see,
$200.
may I
Yes.
see the papers that he's showing me? I went to visit my friend in April 2022, who was a bishop, parked next to an old van at the church owned and asked if they would be willing to sell it. He said the church would sell me the van. I paid $2,500 for the van. That's your sworn complaint.
Okay.
Okay is not,
Yes.
okay is great.
Right, but they decided that they wanted $2,900. I do have, Your Honor, I do have the receipt.
I don't, listen to me, sir.
Okay.
I don't care.
All right.
The reason you put the van in the defendant's name was because legally you were not allowed to put it in yours because you had unpaid fines. And what happened, according to the defendant, is that in the time that you had the van, which was from what month and year to what month and year?
May the 1st of 2022, and she brought the police.
When did she take the van back?
May the 7th. May the 7th of this year.
And in that year, according to the defendant, she took the van back because you had, again, acquired a lot of tickets on it.
2 tickets, which I paid.
Really?
Yes, I have the receipt.
Well, then she's going to have to show me. She said you acquired $1,600 worth of tickets. Is that what you wrote?
Yes, I did write that, Your Honor.
Do you have proof of that?
I have proof as what the tickets are and what it would cost to get this van in shape.
No, that's not what I asked you. I said...
I have some here, yes,
Just
I
a
do.
second.
Okay.
Answer. At this point, he owed me $1,600 in toll fees.
Toll fees?
Do you have proof that he, in that year, he accrued while driving the van
No, Your Honor.
Why not?
Because the $1,600 was including everything that needed to be added to this van.
No, Miss Crockett.
Yes.
No, Miss Crockett. That's not what you said here. You said you took it. I'm going to read
Yes,
you
I
what
know.
you wrote.
Yes, dear.
At that point, he owed me $1,600 in toll fees, and I didn't trust him to do the right thing. Before the van was completely worthless, I decided to have the police come and get it.
Yes.
So how much were the fees? You said toll fees. How much could you prove that he had accrued in toll fees? You didn't spend any money for this van. And I absolutely believe that you should have taken it back. Under normal circumstances, you should have taken it back if he accrued any tickets on the van because you're liable for that.
Yes.
And he's got a miserable history with paying his fines.
Yes. Yes,
Do you
Your
understand?
Honor. Yes,
Yes,
I
Your
do
Honor. Yes,
now.
Your Honor. How much
Yes.
can you prove he had in toll fees?
The tickets that I have here, pictures of.
Well, show me.
Okay.
Show me. I didn't ask you for anything. Are you showing me text messages? I want to see toll fees.
That's all I have, dear, is the text messages.
From whom?
Between Edward and myself, and some pictures of the tolls, the tickets that I sent to him through the
I would like
phone.
to see the
Okay.
tickets that you sent him. I don't want to see text messages. You tried to
Claims his former friend, Sabra Crockett, owes for the cost of a van. Sabra says the van was stolen and she owes him nothing.
You're the owner of the car. You would have gotten notification of toll fees.
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Well, then I want to see them. Look that up. Give me the low range.
$1,600 to $4,000.
Ms. Crockett, it's taking you too much time to find what was clear.
All right, here's two, my dear.
There's
I have
two what?
more. Here you go, young man.
Yeah. Well, I have one, and she says to you that she got a collections notice on a ticket from September 13th in the amount of $110.17. So you need to call this lady. And then on May 5th, she says to you, your balance from other tickets would be $601.17.
No, ma'am. I have 2 tickets here. One that's $33 from Trenton. I was in Trenton. I have one that says $110.17.
Right.
I have letters here that state that she received the money.
Just a second. When did you get the fines?
I didn't get pulled over. This was like from a camera shop. And there was no toll booth in Trenton. This
How
was
come
an
it went?
overhead
Just
camera.
a second. It went to collections, sir. So if she was notified of a ticket, listen to me.
Okay.
If she was notified of a ticket, believe me, this lady notified you right away.
No, she didn't. I can prove it.
Go ahead.
The letter that she sent me said that the ticket was September the 13th, 2022. 7 months later, I have here from her one ticket that says $110.17 and another ticket that says 33. That's $143.17.
I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about why did it go to collections?
Because she didn't turn the money in that I stuck in her mailbox. And I have proof here that I stuck the money in her mailbox.
Just a second. On what date did you put money in her mailbox?
I have it here on March the 15th. It says,
Just a second. March?
Yes.
Just a second. March
the 26th at 5:15, I got a text message from Miss Moore. I just got it this morning, the money you put in my mailbox. I got it, but you are still late. I will send you the picture of the ticket. Now, this is the first time I gotten a ticket from her, period. The one for 33 and the one for 110. This other thing about $116, she can't show you that she sent it to me. She cannot. For her life, she can't show you that. Here are the 2 tickets that she sent, and on my phone, I have a balance of $60.17.
Oh, well, maybe this says 60, although it looked like 601.17.
Oh, no, $60.17.
60?
It's $60, Your Honor.
$60.17?
Yes, dear.
Yes, not
Okay.
600.
That was on Friday, May 5th.
Yes. On Monday, May the 1st, I paid her $182 for insurance. Here's the letter that she sent me about the insurance
May I?
due.
This is in...
Here's another one.
Just a second.
Okay.
Let's start with this, Mr. Taylor. The fact that you tried to scam the Department of Motor Vehicles starts you off with a problem. Do you understand?
Yes.
With me. Starts you off with a problem. Because if you know that you're not allowed by law to register a car in your name because you have unpaid fines from whatever state you're from. What state are you from?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
From Pennsylvania. You have unpaid fines. And you try to circumvent the law by physically owning a car, having it in your possession, and being the sole driver of the car, and putting it in someone else's name to circumvent the fact that you haven't paid tickets, doesn't put you in a good place here.
Okay.
Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
We understand that. It's like buying a car without a driver's license and saying, you know what? This is the car I want. I have no driver's license because they took my license away for drunk driving, but I need a car to get around. So I'll give you the money, you buy the car, and I'll drive it. Do you understand?
Yes.
That's against the law. So when people come into court who have already broken the law, and you ask me to find in your favor and return a car to you that you can't own, you understand? We have a problem. That's where we're starting from. Now, similarly, You were an accomplice because you knew that he couldn't have a car in his name. Are you denying that you knew he couldn't have a car in his name?
Yes, I am denying that, Your Honor.
Now you tell me why you thought uncross your arms, why you thought he needed the car put in your name rather than him owning the car himself.
Okay, this is how it went, Your Honor.
No, I asked you a question.
Yes.
I mean, do you own a car?
Yes, I do.
Did you pay for it?
Yes, I did.
Is it in your name?
Yes, it surely is.
It surely is. Who is this person?
This is my girlfriend, my neighbor, and my friend.
Does she own a car?
Yes, she does.
Is it in her name?
Directly, yes, it is.
Okay, so you know that if he bought a car with money
yes,
and said to you, put it in your name, there had to be a reason.
Definitely.
What did you think the reason was?
When I got to the Allstate office to get the title change, he approached me and said, could you put it in my name because I have a lot of tickets?
That's what I just said.
Yes, but I didn't know that. I knew that he had a lot of tickets. I said, I'm going to give you 3 months.
It doesn't make any difference. What you did was you knew he couldn't put it uncross. You knew he couldn't put it in his name because, for the same reason the drunk driver couldn't put a car in their name, they had no license. He wasn't allowed to own a car unless he paid off his fines on his old cars.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you were an accomplice in that by putting it in your name. That's what I'm telling you. That's not a question. That's a statement. There's a difference between a question and a statement. I'm making a statement to you.
Yes, you are.
You knew?
No, I did not know, dear.
Oh, yes, you did.
No, I did not, because when I met Mr. Taylor, he was driving a Chrysler 3000.
Who cares? He told you he couldn't put it in his name because of the tickets.
For the tickets.
That's what...
Yes, dear.
That's exactly what I said to you.
Yes,
He told you he couldn't put it in his name because of the tickets.
Former friend, Sabra Crockett, of refusing to pay for his van after it was stolen. Sabra says she did Edward a favor, and he still owes her for parking tickets.
So, Mr. Taylor, I am disinclined to help you, but I want to know what happened to this van, just out of curiosity. Now, I know the van was stolen once and recovered. It was stolen a couple of months after you were driving it.
6 weeks after I brought it.
6 weeks. Sad. And then you got it back, got it out of impound, a couple of parts or whatever. But you were still driving it because you drove it for a year after it was stolen the first time. You took it back more recently because you say you got these tickets, whatever. You took it back. It wasn't smart of you to do it in the first place if you knew that he was breaking the law by having this car.
Yes, Your Honor.
What happened to the van?
I retrieved the van.
Yes, I know you did.
And with the police...
On what date did you go and get the van?
I got the van on May 3rd, 2023.
No.
Where is it now?
Somebody stole it, Your Honor.
From where?
In front of my house.
Do you have a police report?
Yes, I do, dear.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Here you go, Your Honor.
Thank you.
This young man here.
Okay. And Allstate is the insurer.
Yes, dear.
Did you advise Allstate that it was stolen?
Yes, I did.
And what happened?
They gave me a claim number and said they'll call me in a couple days.
And did they call you? Or were you waiting for the call?
I was waiting for the call, yes. Dear.
Oh, well, then you have to wait, sir. If you get any money, you have to give it to him. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah.
I have talked to Allstate, but it was only, what is it, liability on it? No other?
Well, that would not be my problem. That would be his problem. You put insurance on this.
Yes, I pay every month.
It depends upon what kind of insurance you have.
$80
If you get any money back from Allstate for the van, listen, this just happened. We're talking about something that happened 23 days ago. You're not a priority for Allstate. So I don't know whether they're going to give you any money or not. It depends upon his insurance. All I'm telling you is if you get any money for this stolen van, it belongs to him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. Has he cleared up all the tickets that are in your name?
No, dear.
How much is outstanding in tickets
Probably
that you can prove?
Probably $50.
I don't care about $50. I mean, I care about $50.
Okay.
I care about $50, but not as much as this tape is costing to tape this case. So you understand that if you get the check, and if you had insurance to cover your van, sir, pay attention. If you had insurance to cover your van, I'm directing her to turn that money over to you if she gets it.
Yes.
If she doesn't get it, you get nothing.
Okay. But how would I know if she got it?
Well, you trusted her to put the car in her name, didn't you?
But I can't, Your Honor, can I show you this here where I don't owe anything for tickets?
I don't care.
No,
Do you
I'm just
understand?
saying.
I don't care.
Okay.
You do owe for your old cars tickets.
Okay, yes.
You
but I'm
do
saying
owe
concerning-
thousands of dollars for your old cars for
Yes,
tickets.
I agree.
All I'm saying to you is that if you had full coverage on this van instead of just liability, if you hit somebody, she should get a check for a stolen car. If you do not have that on the van, she will not. So I would suggest that we will prepare an order for this car that you can send to Allstate, which is your insurer, that if there is a check, her insurer, which if there is a check, that check should be forwarded to you. Whether they will do that or not, I don't know. But I doubt very much whether you were paying for anything other than the minimum liability on this van. Would that be right?
Yeah, that's right. But
Then you would get nothing. Then you would get nothing. She doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah.
Got stolen.
I knew nothing about it being stolen.
Well, just so that you
Until
know,
now.
this is the police report. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll take it back now. Got it?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you very much. Your case is dismissed.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Well, the judge made a good decision.
I think the judge did a marvelous job.
Well, I just didn't pay it. That's just telling the truth.
Because he knew I had a valid driver's license and I could drive and he couldn't.
She never intended on giving me the title.
I went to his church and I had the police to meet me there and I had the title, registration, and the insurance card.
I learned that you can't trust everybody.
This is a lesson learned. Do not sign for anything unless you check out all the facts.
Okay, I just have a little bone to pick with your analogy of, I understand the analogy that you made between driving drunk and covering for someone who's unable to drive under the law for having a DUI or, something of that nature. But when you liken it to parking tickets, I understand under the law equally that person would be unable to register a car for those two reasons. But I feel like with a DWI, you're making an active choice to get behind the wheel when you know that you're drunk and you're endangering the lives of others. With parking tickets, there's a lot of factors, socioeconomic factors, that play into why someone might not be able to afford their parking tickets. Now, before you get to the counterpoint of he bought 2 more cars after that, I'm not saying that this situation warrants my counterpoint, but I do think that it's something to consider, is that a DWI is something very serious, that you're taking an active role in your own criminal behavior,
you're
endangering others.
You're endangering others. I would agree with you. When you come into a court of law and equity, equity means you want a fair result to happen. So you're sort of throwing yourself on the court and saying, I want you to do justice. And before you do that, you're supposed to come in with
clean hands.
Right. And he clearly couldn't do that because the whole scheme with the car is to avoid personal responsibility, paying your tickets so that you can have a car, so that you don't park next to a fire hydrant in a handicap spot, in a fire zone. You're not supposed to do that. That also places people at risk, but not in the same way as drunk driving. But I
understood the analogy.
You're not supposed to, not here anyway, break the law and then come into court and ask for my help in equity when you've broken the rules.
The same court you're defrauding.
Yep. And she was really a co-conspirator.
I don't even think she realized until you said it 3 times.
No, I don't think she realized. She realized it either. I'm not sure. She was supposed to be a church member or whatever, a friend. I'm not so sure that there wasn't a little bit more there. I don't know. I don't know. But I certainly wouldn't, for anyone, put a car in my name and be responsible for it and let you drive if you have a history of being irresponsible.
You wouldn't even do that for me, I don't think.
No, you don't have to think about that. I would not do
And it would
that
be the
for you.
smart thing.
I wouldn't put a car in my name
No.
for you.
Wanda Lucero is suing her niece's former landlord, Lawrence Block, for property damage and pain and suffering.
Court come to order.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 3011, Lucero versus Block.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Lucero, this is your sister,
Yes.
and she has a daughter.
Yes.
Her daughter is challenged.
Yes.
She and your daughter, according to what I read, were living together. And there came a time when your sister decided that it was best for her to go into a senior community,
That's correct.
leaving her daughter to find another place to live. When was that?
In March of 22.
Have you always been involved with the care of both your sister and her daughter?
More recently or more actively in the past year.
How old is your niece?
38.
So you started to look for a facility for her, someplace where she would be safe. And you were referred by whom to the defendant's group home?
Well, it turned out my daughter had paid for her another month's rent at where they were living so we could figure out what we were going to do. And the owner of that place told her she wanted her out now. So she was actually homeless for a week.
You mean your niece?
Yes. And it turned out she got an infection and she had to go to the hospital. And so when she got discharged from the hospital, they're the ones that found his organ.
So the social worker at the hospital was
Correct.
instrumental in finding the defendant's facility.
Yes.
Your lawsuit is alleging that you had to, because of circumstances which you will tell me about, take her out of the defendant's group home. It is a group home, I assume, sir?
Yeah.
And you had to do that relatively quickly, and there was some sort of a kerfuffle with the defendant where he scratched your car, destroyed some of the property that your niece had. Mr. Block, in his answer, has a whole different scenario, which he's going to tell me about. On what date, Mr. Block, did the plaintiff's niece come to live in your group home?
I am
You don't
not
know.
sure on the date.
You don't know. On what date?
March 14th of 2022.
I want you to describe the group home that you run, Mr. Block. How many residents do you have?
I have anywhere from 8 to 10 at most times. It's for psychological disabled.
8 to 10?
Yes.
Okay. And describe the house. Give me the address.
It's San Bernardino, California, 92404.
Okay, Sarah, you look that up for me, please.
Sure.
And are you registered or licensed with the state?
With the city.
With the city of San Bernardino?
I'm a room and board.
I'll ask questions.
Okay.
You give me answers.
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor.
The answer is you're licensed by the city?
Correct.
As what?
As room for rent.
Just a room for rent?
That's the only qualification.
Just don't tell me what the only qualification is. You're licensed by the city to rent rooms in this house.
Correct.
Now, the plaintiff was referred to your boarding house, because it's not a facility, it's a boarding house, by the hospital. Do you know how the hospital got the name of your boarding house? Did you give it to the hospital?
The county collects a list of room and boards.
Of boarding houses.
Yes.
And how many rooms are you permitted to rent in your house?
5.
It's a 5-bed, 2-bath, 2,000 square feet. I have photos if you want to see.
Do you also live there, sir?
No.
Who else lives there?
It would be a house manager and residents.
A house manager?
Yes.
Is the manager also a tenant?
Yes. It's on-grounds manager 24 hours.
Okay, so you have somebody who's a resident who rents a room from you and who acts as the manager of the property.
Correct.
Okay. How much was the rent you were paying?
Well, it varied. It started out at like $750.
And your niece shared a room with someone?
Yes.
With the manager.
In the end.
Just a sec. Well, that's okay. She shared a room with somebody.
Correct.
Now, Ms. Lucerno, according to what I read, you tried to keep close tabs on your niece, and you went to pick her up, and there was something that happened that was disturbing. When was that?
On November 30th, I went over there. She had doctor's appointments that day, so I went to pick her up, and before we left her bedroom, she opened her purse and flung some undergarments to the house manager whom she shared the room with. So when we got in the car, I asked her, I said, Liz, what are you doing with her undergarments in your bag? And she said, well, we had been to Walmart and she asked me to put them in there. And I'm like, so you stole them? And she goes, I don't know. I go, yeah, she had you steal them. So that was the straw. There was a lot of other things that went on throughout her stay there, but that was the final straw.
And you went back to remove her property?
Yes.
That day?
Yes.
And describe to me what time you went there and what happened.
I would say around 3, maybe.
Had you notified anyone that you were taking your niece out of the residence?
No.
Okay, so it was about 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
And
so we went in there, I had hefty bags. We bagged up all her belongings. And then...
Was her roommate there?
Yes.
So the house manager was there?
Yes.
Okay. Did the house manager call you and let you know on that day that she was moving out? Yes.
Yes.
Of course. Okay. And where were you, by the way, when she called you?
I was at a community hospital interviewing a potential new client.
Okay. So how far away were you from the house when you got the call from the house manager?
Just driving distance or?
Traveling distance.
Traveling distance would be about half hour.
Okay. Now, it took you a half hour to get back to the property. Did you come directly back to the property?
I finished my interview, then did, yes.
How long did that take?
It was about an additional 15 to 20 minutes with the interview.
So maybe 45 minutes later, you showed up at the house.
I would say an hour.
So when you showed up at the house, what was the purpose of coming to the house?
Well, there was an issue skipped in between that. Before I came to the house, I had gotten a call from my son. He said that some lady had blocked him into the driveway because he was doing an errand for me at the house.
Stand up. Over here.
Wanda Lucero claims her niece's former landlord, Lawrence Block, owes for property damage and pain and suffering.
You called your father and said someone was blocking you in?
Yes, they, with their vehicle, they had blocked the driveway.
Okay. Were they loading property?
No.
What were they doing?
They expressly went to block me into the driveway.
Really?
Yeah.
They were trying to get away. Why would they stand there and do nothing and block you from... Don't speak.
Yes, ma'am.
Why would they just block you, sir, if what they were trying to do is get the property and leave? Why would they block you? Can you figure that out?
Yes, if I may. They saw that I was not a normal resident and assumed that I had something to do with the management of the property and were insisting that I let them into places such as the garage and...
Just a second. The plaintiff was asking you to let her into the garage?
Yes.
Did you say, why do you want to go into the garage?
No.
Did she tell you there was a piece of property there that belonged to her niece?
I wasn't listening to her.
What do you mean you weren't listening? What were you doing?
He's not involved in the property.
Would you be quiet?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your witness.
Yes,
you
Your
brought him here. So you weren't listening as to what she said to you?
Yes.
Why?
I have no pertinence to the
Sit
things
down.
going on.
Sit down. Anyway, you got there, and there was a kerfuffle when you got there. So now he's gone. Did you finally let him out?
Nope.
Were you blocking his car?
Yes, I was.
Tell me why.
Well, my niece...
I'm not speaking to you. You have to understand.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
You have to understand. I've been involved in your kind of businesses, not personally, but have had involvement with those businesses for a very, very long time.
They do have a bad reputation.
They sure do. And if something like that smells, which you say it has a bad reputation, if you're involved in that bad stuff, smell sticks.
And I say one thing and...
I'm not finished yet. I want to know why you blocked his son's car.
Well, I needed to get that item out of the garage.
What item?
It's a clothes hamper, and it had some random things in it.
Who put it in the garage?
I guess his house manager. The garage is off limits to the residents.
Do you know why?
I know
why
he
is the
keeps...
garage off limits to residents, sir?
To secure food preparation items, because we room and board, so we provide the food as well. If we didn't have it in a secured area, then it would be gone every week before we could make our meals, so we have to secure it in there. And it's also used for when residents move out to secure their items and put it in there so The other residents don't go through it because they have a tendency, once they hear somebody's moving, to go through it and pillage everything.
So she's looking for her niece's hamper.
Yes, some items.
No, she's looking for her niece's hamper.
Okay.
Everything else was packed up in garbage bags. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the only thing that remained was the hamper.
Correct.
That you wanted to get. He shows up.
Hysterically.
Well, right now you're blocking his son in his car so he can't leave, whatever that means. Yeah. By the way, when she blocked your car in, did you go back into the house and call your father?
I remained outside. I called him inside of my car.
When you received the phone call from your son, I want you to tell me what he said to you.
He said, some lady is yelling at me about getting into the garage, and then she parked behind me and won't let me leave. What do you want me to do? I said,
so you came
I'll
home.
be right there.
And when you came home to the house, tell me exactly what you saw.
Her dark utility vehicle at the end of the driveway blocking my son who was parked on the driveway.
And what did you do?
I was pretty fumed at that point. Somebody, involving my kid in something like that and holding him hostage of sorts. And so I was pretty irate. I started telling her, you got to move. This is illegal for you to be here. And she would argue back.
Just a second. Did she tell you, Mr. Block, that all she wanted was the hamper from the garage?
Yes.
Did you give it to her?
Not at that point.
Why?
At that point, all of her belongings wasn't at that same location.
No, listen to me, sir. Answer my question. She asked you for the hamper. There's no question she did. And she said it's in the garage. Why didn't you give it to her? Did you not give it to her because you were angry at that point?
Yes. I was arguing with her.
You were arguing?
I didn't want to cooperate with somebody who's holding my son hostage.
He wasn't hostage. He was in his car, and his father was there. Sit. So you were angry?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you knew that the plaintiff's niece is a challenged child.
Yes, all of our residents are.
And the scene that you made by not giving her the hamper was in front of her niece who was in the car.
It was both ways. She was arguing and yelling and using profanity as well. It was a back and forth. It wasn't a one-way situation like that. It was an ongoing argument between each other. And eventually I did break it off and disengage to go talk to my son. And at that point is when I figured out how to get his car out of there.
I'm going to look at the video. Did you bring me the video or did she?
I did.
I'd like to see it.
Genius human being.
Okay.
And by the way, the bag sitting in the back.
Absolutely brilliant.
Of the car is where I sat the bag.
Yeah, this is a good idea of justice. Blocking the driveway, calling the cops for no reason. Smart human being. Genius.
That was the entirety.
Who's taking the picture?
My son.
So he was outside his car.
At the moment, yeah.
Taking a photograph, hardly hostage. I want you to tell me what you did. Did you put your hands on the car?
No. Oh, yes.
Did you put your hands on the car?
On the handle, yes.
Well, that's the car. And did you open the door?
Yes.
Which door?
The front door.
Front driver's door.
Front driver's.
Who was in the driver's seat?
The plaintiff.
And what did you intend to accomplish by opening up her door?
Again, not being completely rational. I was just trying to convince her to move.
Nah, that doesn't convince her to move. That can scare you if you weren't being rational, going over and opening up her car door.
Okay.
Okay.
Wanda Lucero has accused her niece's former landlord, Lawrence Block, of damaging their personal property. Lawrence claims Wanda threatened his son and escalated the situation.
Now, tell me what happened when he got there.
When he got there, he was cussing, calling me every night.
Got it. He was angry because you were blocking his son's car.
Right.
And he had to come back there because you were moving out. There's no question that he would have come back there because you were moving out anyway, because he got a call from his house manager / your niece's roommate who had her steal property from Walmart.
Yes.
I offered her the time to come back and get the stuff. It wasn't available at the moment because I thought some of it was at another location.
There's no available. All she wanted was the hamper from the garage.
I understand.
That's what she said she wanted. That's not, it's all over the place. All she wanted was the hamper from the garage. Everything else was there and packed. She was ready to go. She just wanted the hamper. He had no authority to give her the hamper or couldn't get into the garage. He didn't know how to get into the garage. Actually, I'm sure your son said to you, if you're a smart man, well, what do they want? And I assume he said to you, they want a hamper from the garage. I assume he said that to you, or he wasn't listening. That he wasn't listening to. Did he tell you that that's what they wanted?
Not that I recall.
Okay. So now tell me what he did to your car. He opens the car door.
Opened the car door. I thought he was going to hit me. My sister and niece were scared to death. They were hysterical. Let's go. He's going to kill us, you know, because he was out of control. And he grabbed my car door remote, slammed that door, hit my windshield, went to the back door. He had to have scratched it with this, opened that door, and threw her bags of belongings out in the street. And then, after he got his son's car out...
Well, how did he get the son's car out? He went up on the curb?
Yeah, and then he came head-on at my car like he was going to hit us head-on. Matter of fact, the son in the driveway kept backing up like he was going to hit my car.
Well, you should have let him out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should have let him out.
Yeah.
You have no right to block him in.
I know, but he should have let us in that garage.
Just a second. It's not his responsibility to let you in the garage. Let's understand each other. It's not his responsibility. He's not in charge of that house. If it was a hamper and clothes you were looking for, you'd be smart. You get your niece out of there.
Right.
You go to wherever you're going to take her, and then you make a communication. Listen, we left a hamper there. Either you get it or you don't get it. But blocking him in is not what you're legally able to do. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
That's why he got frustrated. There's no question about that. He handled it all wrong. You can't put your hands on her car. You can't take out the bags from the car. You can't run over them.
I did not run them over.
You can't scratch her car.
I didn't do that either.
Well, she's going to show me pictures, sir. And that's
Of a
what she's
scratch?
and that's what she's here for. She has to convince me that you damaged property and you took property without permission.
Well, as the video shows, the bags were not thrown or sprawled out or ran over as she's claiming either.
Oh, no, she didn't say sprawled out, sir.
said I threw
You
them.
touched somebody else's property, and you have no right to do that. You were angry. You have no right to touch her car, scare her physically. And if you threw, not gently put, the bags of stuff, oh, there's no question in my mind that if you're angry and you grabbing them out of the car, you're not grabbing them out of the car and gently putting them down. Whatever. Show me the car's damage, please.
I did not throw them.
All right. Good. Shouldn't be taking care of challenged people in your house. Should get off every list. I know it's a business and I know people have to do it, not you. Okay. Damage to the car.
Right here.
Is this the damage? Is this the...
Crack, yeah.
Uh-huh,
yes.
Did you have it fixed?
Yes.
I'd like to see the bill for it.
Okay.
So is what you're telling me your out-of-pocket was $250?
Yes.
Okay, to fix your car was more money, but that was your deductible, $250.
Right.
Okay, so we have $250. What else?
He took my garage door opener, so I had to buy a new one.
How much was that?
$134.95.
I didn't touch a garage door opener.
What else?
And the rental car was $366.20 that I was in while my car was getting worked on.
Just a second. Did your insurance pay for that? Yes, they had to.
Yeah.
Yes, of course they did. Because if you had a $250 deductible on your car, then there's no question in my mind that you had rental car. Okay, all right. $385, judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much. We're finished.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Court is adjourned.
That was no problem as far as her moving out. That's a normal part of the business. What was very upsetting was somebody involving my son and trapping him from being able to move.
Because what I wanted wouldn't have taken more than 30 seconds to get. I'm disabled, so I always look for the easiest route.
I do regret I was pretty fumed, but it was because, you know, that Papa Bear part of me came out, and somebody was attacking my kid in my head, so.
The way he was cussing and carrying on.
I wanted to go full force, and I went too far with verbalizing anyways.
Just screen him good.
A good point that this case highlighted that I actually couldn't believe that I want to look into a little bit more is that just anybody can rent or own a 5-bedroom, however many bedroom home, and just open their doors and get put on a list for rooms for rent for people with real challenges or disabilities. You've been in the business longer than me, but you need a license to give a pedicure in most places. Right. So the fact that this man can just open up a home that he was renting and be put on a list as a safe haven for these people to live, secure living environment, food, shelter, all of that, to me, it's kind of outrageous that you don't need any sort of check and balance or any
sort of license or government oversight.
Exactly, especially with such a class of people that require extra care and help. And I really couldn't believe that.
Yeah, it's problematic because for adults who have challenges, there are so few facilities.
Yeah.
And it's such a vulnerable population. And to force that vulnerable population into being in a place that is not carefully scrutinized by either a locality or the federal government, because very often there are federal funds that filter down into these places. It's just so monumentally sad.
All the way around.
That, yeah, it is monumentally sad.
I think the plaintiff said it best herself when asked how to avoid types of problems like these. She said you really have to screen them very well, and to put that burden on an already vulnerable population of people, I think someone else should be vetting these places.
Okay, agreed.
Suing her former customer, Ashley Satimi, for slander and the cost of 2 miniature pigs.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Hello, Judge. Case 3029, Garlic versus Simiti.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Garlic, you have a business. I don't know if this is your main business, but you sell miniature pigs.
That is correct. This is one of my major businesses.
How long have you been doing that?
About 18 years.
You have photographs of what your pigs look like?
Sure.
Yeah, take a look at them, please.
Do you want the ones that she got off of me?
No.
Oh, adult ones? I do have some adult ones. There's a couple photos for her.
Okay. I'm going to try to simplify this if I can. And these are babies, or are these?
Those are older ones. Like a year old, 8 months to a year old.
How much do they weigh?
Typically, if you feed correctly, anywhere from about 12 pounds up to about 40 pounds. About the size of a medium-sized dog.
Okay. And do they live in the house?
These are house pets. So they're litter box trained. I try to train them before they ever leave. I spend a lot of time with that.
Okay. How much do you sell them for?
Typically, my prices range between about $2,000, depending on age and size, up to about $3,500.
And I assume that in this business, the smaller they are,
the more
they cost. Well, just
and
sort of
also
like
the younger they are, the more they cost.
Okay. You were buying these as pets for yourself?
Correct.
And you were going to buy 2?
Yes.
Where did you see the plaintiff advertising the piglets, or did you hear it by word of mouth?
Just Google.
Just tell me what would inspire you to get a pig instead of a dog.
Well, I have 3 dogs and 3 cats. But I went to the state fair and I saw them in the piglets in the birthing barn.
Okay, and you fell in love. Got it.
There we go.
Got it. So you bought 2 pigs. According to both of you, you gave a deposit for the pigs, correct?
Yes. She gave a deposit on each pig because the amount was more and she didn't have enough right then, so she's going to make payments.
Okay. And in total, she paid you how much?
She paid me $1,500 deposit on each piglet, and then she gave me 3 payments of $250 Zelle payments, which she was supposed to pay for $250 every 2 weeks.
Okay, so she paid you $3,750 altogether.
Yes, which she's reversed all that.
I understand.
Oh,
that.
okay.
And the total purchase price for the 2 pigs that she purchased?
Okay, each one was $2,700.
Okay.
And
well, let me go through something that each of you agree on. She purchased 2. You sent them to her.
Correct.
In transit, before she got them, one of them died.
Yes, due to complication of Spain. Okay.
One of them didn't die in your custody.
Correct.
Died in transit.
Correct.
Okay, so we don't know, but we know that certainly the
Correct.
piglet didn't die of old age. It died in transit, so she only received 1.
Right.
At that time. And what was the date of that?
She had it delivered on the 21st of September.
Okay. And when you contracted for these piglets, Ms. Satimi, did you sign a contract?
I did not, no.
Did you get any paperwork at all from her?
I have text messages stating the amount owed.
No. Do you have a contract?
Didn't have a contract with her. I did send her multiple
Well, just a second. You didn't have a contract with her. So you got the pig, and there were no other terms that were agreed to by both of you in writing other than the price. And what was the total price?
$5,400 is what she owed total.
And of that, she gave you $3,750. Okay. At some point, you took another piglet, Miss Satimi, to replace the one that had died in transit.
No, when Miss
Just a second. Well, you say you did, so you got to get your story straight. At some point, you accepted a second piglet from the plaintiff to replace the one who had died in transit.
It was get the pig or get no money back. So those are my two options.
Just a second. Well, that's true, Miss Satimi, because you don't have a contract with her, according to you, that you can show me. She doesn't either. So in a contract for an animal that I know I've purchased over the last 60 years from a breeder, it usually says that there is a health guarantee until you take the dog to a vet, or if the dog has a congenital illness and it's discovered by a vet, you get either a return of your money or pick of the. There are all kinds of terms contained in a contract that I know I've always gotten, and so you understand them. If you bought these pigs for her and you bought them without any written conditions, then she has to.
I do have a written thing that was sent to her.
I don't care whether it was sent to her, whether or not she acknowledged it. You can't have a one-sided contract. You understand that.
I do.
You don't have a one-sided contract. So unless she agreed to that someplace, which she clearly did not, that's meaningless, what you're going to show me. And if you pay attention and don't shout out, maybe you'll find out that what I'm saying to her is to your benefit, and you're not supposed to interfere when the fact finder seems to be finding in your favor. So she was under no obligation to return your money.
No, she had.
So I'm just telling you, you accept. The answer is you accepted a second pig.
Yes, I did. Yep.
Was it in September?
It was. I didn't. Yes.
In September. On what date did you accept the second pig?
The second pig, I did not receive that until a month later, which was October 19th.
Fine. So these are a couple of questions I have specifically for you. The first pig that you got from her on September 21st is named what?
That is alive?
Yes.
That is Bacon.
And what did you name the second pig that you got on October 19th?
That was Hammy.
And according to your papers, you took Hammy and Bacon to the vet on the 28th of October.
26th, I brought them to the vet.
That's different from what you said here. I assume you have the paperwork from the vet.
Yep, I got the discharge summary.
Here you say in your answer that you took them on the 28th and you got an estimate for spaying them.
I went on the 26th, and at that point I found out that the pigs were not spayed as per...
As per what?
As per our conversation. I had a conversation saying that the pig will be spayed. And on the 26th, I went to the vet, found out it was not spayed, and said, how much would it be to spay? I got a quote on the 28th, and that is...
Did you take the pigs back for the quote?
No.
So you...
they were spayed.
Just a second. I'm talking.
Okay.
You don't want me just to dismiss your whole case.
No.
Right? Which I'm thoroughly prepared to do. I have other things to do today. All I know is you brought in 2 healthy pigs shortly after being seen by the vet, who described the pigs as happy and healthy. One of them died. What does that have to do with her? They're in your care. What does that have to do with her?
Karen Garlick claims her former customer, Ashley Satimi, slandered her business and owes for the cost of 2 miniature pigs. Ashley is countersuing for vet bills.
On the 26th, you took the pigs to the vet.
Correct.
Were the pigs given ivermectin?
Yes.
Both of them?
Yes.
May I see, by the way, the vet papers from that date?
Absolutely. Would you like the quote as well, or just the...
I don't want the quote. I want the vet's notes. So you had both pigs from the 19th of October until you took the pigs to the vet on the 26th. So the 19th, 20th, 21st, 24th, 25th, and 26th.
Yep.
Correct?
Yes.
Yep is not an answer. Yes. And when you went to the vet for the pigs, according to you, the pigs were, and according to the vet.
Yep. Yes.
The pigs were healthy, according to you, playful. I'm going to read what they said.
Wouldn't say
Just
healthy.
Just a second. Well, that's what it says.
It says they have mites, mange,
No. What I'm
parasites.
telling you is
Underweight.
what they said. Bacon, who you still have.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah. And Hammy presented for examination. When Hammy arrived, she had a pendulous belly that the breeder attributed to a parasite, and she was dewormed with a product provided by the breeder, after which this appearance resolved. This is according to you. This is what you gave the vet. And Hammy began to gain weight.
Yes.
Both pigs are bright and active at home with excellent appetites. So far, that's what the vet is getting from you about the pigs.
Yep.
That they're both happy, healthy. She gave you stuff to deworm them. Hammy started to gain weight. And then the vet gave them this medicine. And 2 days later, Hammy died. This is from your history to the vet, that the pigs were fine. The vet gave both pigs this very strong medication, and I want you to describe what happened to the pig the day after you came back from the vet.
Perfectly fine.
Okay.
And can I just say that the ivermectin, that's the same stuff that Karen gave me.
Who knows how much the vet gave them? All I know is you brought in 2 healthy pigs shortly after being seen by the vet, who described the pigs as happy and healthy. One of them died. What does that have to do with her? They're in your care. What does that have to do with her?
Well, you're saying it was the medication. It's the same medication that was given.
It depends upon how much medication you give an animal.
This was a swine specialist.
Listen, I don't care, madam. I want you to understand that A, you have no health guarantee. But even if you had a health guarantee, what I'm reading from the vet is you reported that the pigs were fine, happy and healthy. She had given you a certain amount of this to get rid of the parasites, which you reported to the vet worked. And then the pig is seen by the vet, who gives the pig more of that toxic if taken in too high a dose, and died.
Well, that's not the reason it died.
I'm reading your papers. How many days after Hammy was given this dose by the vet did the pig die? How many days after? I'm reading you. I have your papers.
3.
Well, then maybe you did something 3 days later. Maybe you fed it something wrong. It's not her problem. It's your problem.
What about
by that time, she has sent you a piglet that you've had for 10 days. Now, how many pigs do you have that were purchased from her that you currently have home?
1.
Okay. And that would be bacon.
Correct.
What was the total price for bacon?
$750.
Well, that's not what bacon cost.
Bacon cost $2,500. $2,500. If you can look at my text messages that I have here.
May I see the text message, please?
These are two of them.
Hold on.
She's got confirmations on that one on the second page as well.
Okay, cash price $4,900, Karen. Finance price is always more. I don't charge interest. Me. This is what I think is fair. I owe you $4,900 for the 2 pigs. I gave you $3,000. I owe you $1,900. PayPal took $90 because I did the PayPal protection. I will absorb that and round the remaining out to $2,000. I pay you $250 each week.
Every other week.
And she says, okay. So now we have a contract. Perfect. Would that be okay? Yes. And then you say, do they have any vaccines yet? Yes, they will be vaccinated. So you agree on that. Do you have any warranty on the pigs? This is September 20th. I don't want to accept delivery of brown one if they are sick and going to die in a few weeks. Yes. 90-day replacement. Okay. 90-day replacement is what she says. Not your money back. 90-day replacement. That's your contract. Could you please now show me where she agrees to, I don't see it, and I don't want to look through this whole thing. Show me where the price includes spaying.
That would be on her website.
No, it's not on the website.
No.
I have
Just a second. Show me there, which is what I asked you for, there in the messages.
Better. How about a voicemail from her where she has stated that they're going to be...
Could you just do me a favor, madam? Yeah. Would you show me there?
I believe it is a verbal voicemail from her. I don't believe it is written. I believe it's verbal voicemail.
What do you mean you believe?
I don't think it's in this.
So it's not in that.
I will continue looking.
Yeah,
but I know
continue looking.
I will.
It's not in there. No. Okay. Now you say you have a voicemail where she says that the $4,900 includes spaying. I'll hear it.
I absolutely do.
By the way, were they 2 females that were brought?
Females.
Okay.
Your Honor, I spay all the males, but I never spay females.
Listen to me.
Okay.
She says she has a voicemail that says that the $4,900 for the 2 pigs includes spaying.
I'd like to see
She says she has it. I want to see it.
I also have a loss. You know, I shouldn't have got this spayed before it went, but that was my understanding is you wanted it done.
Just explain to me. This says, if I'm hearing correctly, that one of the piglets was spayed.
Yes, I have documents from the vet.
May I see them, please?
That is not true.
Karen Garlick is accusing her former customer, Ashley Satimi, of refusing to pay for the piglets she purchased. Ashley claims she received sick piglets, and Karen owes for the vet bills.
Okay. But Press said, I don't know where. We'll give it to Sarah.
And
it should be 40 seconds.
So we're both at a loss with this because I haven't had this happen either. You know, I understand where you're upset you lost the one. So please get a hold of me so we can get something worked out because I understand your frustration, but you got to understand mine as well. I also have a loss. You know, I shouldn't have got it spayed before it went, but that was my understanding is you wanted it done prior to going, and that's the discussion I had gotten from you, and so I went and got that done. Plus, you couldn't take her until after the 17th, so we had to arrange the shipping, you know, after that point, so the other one's getting delivered also tonight. But, you know, this kind of puts me in a predicament.
Just explain to me. This says, if I'm hearing correctly, that one of the piglets was spayed.
they both were spayed. The one that died was spayed. That's why it died, in my professional opinion. I went through 4 years of veterinary technology school as well.
Okay, so the one that died, the one that didn't make it in transit, was spayed.
Yes, correct.
Just a second.
And the other one.
And Bacon.
Evidence. Bacon and Hammy, whatever the first one she called.
Were both spayed?
Yes, I have documents from the vet.
May I see them, please?
That is not true. I actually spoke with her, and she said her sons mixed it up.
Birth dates are on there from the vet, and the color and everything.
Just a second.
I actually called the vet as well.
You can't tell me what the vet said to you. What color are the pigs that you got?
They are chipmunk color, but there are multiple in their litter. She tried selling me two.
Just to answer my question.
They're chipmunk color.
What are they? They're chipmunk color.
They're brown, yep.
One of them striped?
I'm not sure what you would consider
That's what
striped.
chipmunks is called, striped.
And red and white?
That was the one for sure.
They were both spayed on September 13th.
Correct.
Now tell me, you went to reverse all the charges that you had paid for her because you had paid her a certain amount of money, $3,750. Did you get all that money back?
No.
How much did you get back?
$3,000.
And then the Zelle account suspended that.
Just a second.
They took it from me, and they've got to suspend it because she claimed I was fraudulent.
Just a second. She now has 2 pigs. What happened to them in her care is, as you understand, is not...
I have 1.
I don't care whether you have 1 now, madam. I just told you you had 2 pigs that were healthy according to the vet. After you had had the replacement pig for over 10 days, it died after it had seen a vet that reported it healthy. You say it was 3 days. If it was the next day, I would say it was the shot the vet gave him that caused her to die. But you said it was 3 days later. I don't know what you fed it. I don't know what you did to it. I don't know who else took care of it. It's irrelevant. She's entitled to her money for 2 pigs. And if you had that reversed by the bank, you can't do that. You had a 90-day replacement for the pigs, and she replaced it, and she has received 0 money.
$750.
That's zero money.
I don't have it. And I don't believe that it's on hold either.
It is.
Just a second. You don't have what?
The $750 I sent her, I did a dispute on it, and they said that because it was not fraudulent, she still has it.
For the $5,000 that these 2 pigs cost, you paid, according to you, $750.
That's correct.
Well, you owe her the rest. You owe her the money. I'm finding, now we're finished. Okay. Now we're finished with testimony, and I'm telling you that the death of one of the pigs, you have one, the death of the other one, happened in your care. Whatever it was, if you don't want to blame the vet, blame yourself, not her. You had a healthy pig when that pig went to the vet over a week after it arrived from her. So it's your fault, and you owe her the rest of the money. Did you get the $750 from her? That's either a yes or a no.
No.
No. You owe her $4,900 for the 2 pigs. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished. It's dismissed.
This court is adjourned.
My slander.
It's dismissed.
Okay.
I tell you one other thing. If you post anything derogatory about her business again, she's going to see you back in court, either mine or somebody else's. Do you understand?
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. Some people think they get something for nothing anymore, and it's just the way it is. People try to cheat you.
You know, I got 3 pigs from her. 2 of them died.
You know, I get so attached because I'm very passionate about my animals. I'm very passionate about my business and my customers.
And 2 out of 3, that's not a good record.
So this is just really heart set to me because
2 pigs dying, there's something goofy going on there.
anytime a little animal dies like that, I take heart.
Moral of the case. If you're going to spend thousands of dollars on a pet, have a contract in writing as to what your expectations are so that you have a price, you have whatever guarantees there are, you have whatever exchange policies there are. Because what happened in there is I had to create a contract out of
nothing, out of
text mails,
voicemails,
out of text messages. I agreed to pay. Yes, well, that's a meeting of the minds as to a term. But that's an unprofessional way of the plaintiff to deal with a business that is a substantial business if she has 18 pigs. And it's really not a smart way for the defendant, to whom money is important, $5,000 has to be important to her, would go into a business arrangement without a formal writing.
Yeah, and just a secondary point that I was thinking of is we would want that contract to exist for anything, for a car, for a transfer of funds, but especially you want those details and those guarantees for a life. You're talking about a living animal.
Right.
And I think that requires, from both ends, a lot more words, a lot more sign pages, something more.
It requires a contract.
A contract.
It requires a contract. And she's in the breeding business. She's been doing it for 18 years. She should have a contract.
Listing whatever her terms may be. Maybe it's you don't get a refund, but I'll send you, replacement. That's perfectly fine. But all of those expectations should be
in a contract.
Keith Pasquarello is suing his former landlord, Brandon Hubbard, for destruction of property, a security deposit, and harassment.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 3037, Pasquarello versus Hubbard.
Oh, my goodness. Mr. Pasquarello, you all seem to have a lot of things that you brought to me, and I actually think that you're all overthinking this case. I, however, am not overthinking it. It's relatively simple. You rented a room from the defendant in a house that you own.
Yes, ma'am.
It didn't work out. They didn't like he and his girlfriend? Fiance. Didn't get along with you. You didn't get along with them. You had problems with each other's lifestyles. You are no longer there, and you want your security deposit back, which I, of course, will entertain. But you're asking for emotional distress, nuisance, filing a false restraining order, harassment. That's not happening. I want you to get over that. You had a tenancy that didn't work out. And if it didn't work out, and if you didn't do anything to the property, you're entitled to your security deposit back. You moved in when?
December 1st.
What do you do for a living?
I own a company.
What kind of company?
It's a janitorial company.
For how long?
Approximately 9 years.
Do you have employees?
Yes.
How many?
Approximately 20.
You pay them on the books or off the books?
On.
Was this an interim room that you were renting from him, or were you planning on staying here for a long time?
It was a 6-month lease.
Is there any reason why you took a room, if you have a company for 9 years with 20 employees that you pay on the books, that you were living in a room?
Yes, I'm going through a divorce. I moved to Los Angeles 2007 and got with my wife for 15 years. We're going through a divorce, and during the pandemic, she was raised in Riverside, so I had to follow her all the way to Riverside because she has 3 of my children. I don't have any family or friends here on this side of the country. I'm from Florida. So I was by myself, and I had to rent a room by myself.
And the children stayed with their mother in the house, in your property?
Yes, we are currently going through a custody battle.
So what you're telling me is that a room was what you could afford?
That's all I could afford at the moment.
Okay.
We're still going through community property.
Okay. So you found his room.
I was moving from one house to another because they were selling their home. The housing market is very, very bad right now. It's very hard to find rent in what I can afford. So I found his, along with 2 others, and I liked his location, and I moved in under the lease agreement that he presented to me.
Okay. So he presented a lease agreement to you. You signed it. You have a copy of it.
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Your Honor, there's a couple of discrepancies. With
Just a second.
Sorry.
I didn't ask you anything yet. There are no discrepancies. He rented a room from you and he signed a lease. I asked him to see the lease.
He started moving his belongings in November 13th of 22.
And?
And he officially moved himself in on December 1st.
Why is that important?
When he moved in, he brought a refrigerator into the house that was infested with roaches.
Just a second. Do you have a copy of the lease?
Yes, I do.
I'm trying to go through it. I have so much here that...
I know, you have a lot there.
Okay. Here it is. I found it, by the way.
All right, there's a very big lease with your signature on it on November 7th. Okay, so now I have the lease. You moved in on December 12th. When did you move out?
When my girlfriend got back from her trip from Spain and Italy is when I was able to move, because she was able to help me. I couldn't do it by myself. I don't remember the exact date.
You have the date when he moved out?
Yes. So I have a timeline here. 4/21, he moved out. And at that point...
Okay, 4/21.
Yep.
And what was the monthly rent, sir?
$1,000.
And how much was your security?
$500. If I could say, Your Honor, I'm not here because we had a little spat.
No, I know you didn't have a spat. It was a terrible 4 months.
It's a breach of a lease, Your Honor. I mean, they had 3 rules. It says it right here in his lease, 3 rules and regulations. And on the 17th, I got a new set of rules. Then I was only told I can do my laundry once a week. Then I was told that my girlfriend couldn't stay past 9 o'clock. The rules were changing as they went on, making my life a living hell.
Well, then you move. How old are you?
I'm going to be 50, and this
You're
is my
going to be
very
50.
first...
Just a second. You're going to be 50.
Yeah.
Okay. And, you know, rules are what people live by. I assume that that's one of the reasons that you're going through a divorce and you have custody, unless it was a girlfriend or a boyfriend. I don't know which one it was, and I actually don't care. What I'm telling you is, if something is terrible and you're 50 years old, you say, I'm done here. I'm leaving.
I was going to do that, Your Honor. I was looking for places to stay. The housing market is almost impossible in my...
So what is... That's not his fault. That's your fault.
It's not his fault for taking away my quiet peace and enjoyment of life? Filming me with my cameras in the house, not telling me I'm being monitored?
Let me explain something to you, sir. You're a big boy. I say this to people all the time. You don't like where you're staying? Move. Sometimes I have sympathy for somebody who is really down and out, and they say, I really can't cobble the money together to find month's rent and a month's security. I was trying to save my money. That's not in your case. You've had a business for 9 years with 20 employees who you pay on the books, and you have 3 children. So that's not your situation. What I'm telling you is, not everything is a lawsuit. And I know that you're suing him for $10,000 because he violated the peaceful enjoyment of your life. Okay? Move. So, I don't necessarily believe it, but I actually find it amusing for a lawyer to tell you, well, stop paying rent, and you'll deal with it when you come up with an unlawful detainer because you are staying without paying rent.
Keith Pasquarello claims his former landlord, Brandon Hubbard, destroyed his property and harassed him. Brandon is countersuing for pest control fees and filing a false restraining order.
You're a grown man. You run a big business. You're not supposed to stay in a place that's terrible.
Judge, the business is in community property right now, and
I don't care. That's not his
I
fault.
don't own the full business. I don't get the full money.
Hey, I'm telling you, I asked you what you did. You said, I own a business. I have 20 employees. It's a janitorial business, and I needed a place right away. I took his room, and what I'm telling you is, you have a car?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Where does your girlfriend live?
She lives 2 cities away.
Okay, well.
But there's another aspect of this, Your Honor. That's why there's so much evidence up here. I was being harassed so much that I didn't know what to do anymore. I was given advice by an attorney, stop paying him, and you will deal with it when you go to the unlawful detainer hearing, and we'll see if it gets solved there.
You went to an attorney? Just a second.
Yes.
You consulted with an attorney who gave you advice?
Yes.
Is this an attorney that you knew who worked for you? Or is this someone that you found that was a specialist in this field of landlord and tenant?
It's someone that was a specialist in this field.
Yeah,
Problem is, this is Riverside and this is Los Angeles. He's a Los Angeles.
I don't care. Now, lawyers don't work for free. What did he charge you?
Nothing. It was a consultation.
Charged you nothing for a consultation?
It was a 20-minute conversation.
20 minutes?
Yes.
I get a bill for 20 minutes for $750. I don't know how you got your consultation for nothing. So, and I don't necessarily believe it, but I actually find it amusing for a lawyer to tell you, well, stop paying rent and you'll deal with it when you come up with an unlawful detainer because you are staying without paying rent.
Your Honor, I filed an incident with Fair Housing. I called the police 4 times.
I'm telling you to move.
I couldn't move, Your Honor.
What are you?
I couldn't move. I couldn't
Okay,
move.
Mr. Pasquarello, I can't help you, sir. Okay. You want your security deposit back? I have to see if you left a mess. Okay. If you didn't leave a mess, then you get your $500 security back. Except, I have a question. Did you pay December's rent?
Yes, yes.
Did you pay January's rent?
Yes.
February?
Yes.
March?
You did not pay February.
Don't speak. Sorry. March's rent.
I didn't pay March or April, but it was already litigated.
No. I don't care. You moved out April 21.
Yes.
Did you pay March's rent? I'm going to ask you for proof.
I don't believe I paid March.
Okay,
rent.
So you didn't pay March's rent of $1,000. So already you don't get your security deposit back.
But he was already awarded this in a previous case.
What? Previous case?
In the previous case, he was awarded in the unlawful detainer hearing. The judge granted him March and April.
Oh, so he got March and April's rent.
Yeah, he got March and he didn't receive it.
And just a second. Yeah. Did you pay him March and April's rent?
No, I haven't. Not at the moment.
Well, I'm not an appellate court. You have to go get that from someplace, sir. You have to get that from him. You have to file a judgment. You have to attach his business. You have to do what you have to do. If the judge awarded you March and April, which I would have considered. Anyway, Mr. Pasquarello, I'm done with your case. I'm going to get to the counterclaim. You're not entitled to security deposit back because you didn't pay rent for 2 months. Okay, now let's get to your counterclaim. You had a hearing before a judge in an unlawful detainer?
Yes, we did.
Okay, and you testified? Speak.
Sorry.
That's either a yes or a no. Did you testify?
Yes.
Somebody say, raise your right hand and you swear to tell the truth? And judge asked you questions?
Yes.
And you answered questions?
Correct.
Did the same thing for him?
Yes.
And they ordered him to pay the 2 months' rent?
Yes.
And then he left?
Yes.
And he's no longer living with you as of April 21st?
Correct.
Okay. What did you tell that judge that he owed you aside from rent? Is not an answer. What did you tell the judge that he owed you other than March and April's rent?
I told the judge that he owed me for the court harassment hearings.
Now, just a second. I'd like to see where you not from a book that you have.
Sorry.
Show me where you told the judge other things that you were claiming he did, including the parking fines in the development.
So this is everything that he owes me here.
I didn't ask you for everything he owes you. That's not what I asked you. I said, what did you tell the judge in the previous hearing that he owed you?
I only asked for the back rent due.
Oh, so what are you showing me?
This was for the small claims case.
Just a second. So after you went before a housing court to get him out because he hadn't paid rent. You went to small claims court.
I was just responding to a civil case that he had filed against me.
Well, his civil case is dismissed. Okay?
That's what
He hasn't paid a judgment that he owes. May I see that, please?
Your Honor, he also asked the judge. Okay, he also, okay.
Just a second.
Sure.
Okay. Value of the remainder of the lease. That you're not getting.
Okay.
You happy to see him go?
Yes.
Great, he's gone. Court filing fees. I may think about that because he stopped paying rent on the advice of some idiot lawyer that he followed, this man who owns a business. Sheriff's filing fees. What fees were that for? For the unlawful
to serve
detainer?
him the eviction paperwork to post it on the door.
Crisis management fees. What is that?
That was for my advice to, like, with the lawyer.
Ah, you don't get that. A valve that went over something?
Oh, his parking ticket.
Yeah, he got a parking fine when he was living there.
Oh, well, I have that. A parking fine.
Yes.
Are you responsible for that?
Yes, I already paid it. I have
All
the
right,
receipt
can I
here.
see how much was the parking fine?
The parking fine was $50.
Okay. Did you know that you got a violation, sir, Mr. Pasquarella, when you were parking?
Yes, Judge, I would love to explain that. In one of the text messages that I have, Allie, his fiance, threatened to have my car ticketed. I have been living at Canyon Lake for 3 years. I had never even came close to getting a ticket. Ironically, 2 weeks later, I get a ticket right after she threatens to have my car ticketed to the POA. Now, to my understanding, she's been in Canyon Lake for a very, very long time, since she was a little girl, and she has relationships there. I
don't know that. You can't prove any of that, sir. You got a ticket.
So
you got a ticket. They have a picture. You have a car that the license plate is.
I also have a text message of her saying she's going to get my car
Just a second. I'm just
ticket.
asking you whether that's your license plate.
Yes, it is. When the harassment wouldn't stop, I filed a restraining order.
Well, this is your filing against him.
So I did file one once he started getting aggressive.
What happened with those cases?
His was.
Don't speak from your chair. Do you hear me?
Keith Pasquarello has accused his former landlord, Brandon Hubbard, of destroying his property and harassing him. Brandon is countersuing for breaching the lease and filing a false restraining order.
This is a filing fee for small claims court. That you're not getting.
Your Honor, I wouldn't have to have
Writ
any
of
this money out
possession
of
is
pocket.
$40. Is that what you're talking about, the writ of possession?
Yes.
That you're entitled to because you stopped paying rent. So far, he owes you $90 for the filing fee.
And then I have another receipt for no return of the POA ID card or the POA decal for his car.
What is that?
Because we live in a gated community, you have an ID card that they give you and a decal that they put on your car so you don't get tickets. Or if you
And?
do get a ticket, they know whose house to send it to. And that was $100 each, and I have a receipt for that.
Can I see what he's showing you?
And it says his name right at the top.
Did you pay this bill?
I did.
Would you please, Kevin, show this to the plaintiff? You know what that's for? It's your name on it.
It's a POA card. That card was thrown away in the trash. I mean, I don't have no use for it.
Then that's a problem. Then you owe him $200. That's $290. Anything else, sir?
I believe that the small claims fee is...
Forget it. I'm not giving you the small claims fee. Let's go. Let's go.
I lost another tenant due to Keith's behavior.
Let's go. Let's go.
And
let's move on. Move on.
He owes me $900 in lost rent from that other tenant.
No, he doesn't.
Because he's
I said let's move on.
Okay.
So far, he owes you $290.
And the court harassment filing fees. They're charging me $450 to respond to a restraining order that he put forth.
Oh, just a minute. Did you file a restraining order against him?
I sure did.
Okay. And when did you file that?
I don't remember the exact date.
Do you have the date? If you don't remember the date, do you have
It was
the
January
date?
28th.
January 28th.
That was the day I was served with the paperwork. And
of
my,
2023.
Yes. My witness was also served with one, too.
Just a second. Here's my question, Mr. Pasquarella. You moved out in April of 2022?
23, he moved out.
23. And when did you file this harassment case against him for an order of protection?
I don't remember the exact date.
Well, can I see the papers, please?
I believe I have them here.
When the harassment wouldn't stop, I filed a restraining order.
Okay, so March 27th. That's a response. Hold on. Let's see if I have the actual filing date.
Can I see it, please?
2023. Here's the receipt for the 145 for the evictions process.
I can't hear a word you're saying, sir. I'm reading.
Okay.
Well, this is your filing against him.
So I did file one a month later, once he started getting aggressive.
Okay, so he filed one and you filed one. So you both bothered the courts.
Yes.
Both of you. What happened with those cases?
Why don't you
His
fill
was.
in
Don't
the
speak
videos?
from your chair. Do you hear me? What happened with those cases?
They were both dropped.
Mine was dismissed by the judge. The judge
Were they both dismissed?
both
Yes, they were both dismissed.
That's the answer. You owe him, Mr. Pasquarella, $290. We are finished. Your claim is dismissed. Goodbye.
This court is adjourned.
throwing my property away, you know, blaming me for a roach problem they already had.
He moved a little mini fridge in that apparently was roach infested.
I was done with it months ago, many months ago, but unfortunately I couldn't move. I'm in a town where, you know, I don't have any friends or family to help me. I just met my girlfriend, and I'm not going to bring this luggage on her. So
he was trying to squat for free in order to save money to move somewhere else. I don't know what he was trying to do.
I'm ready to move forward, but the thing I'm disappointed about is not even the money necessarily. It's about there's no protection for tenants.
Watch out and really understand your lease before you sign it.
You know, Sarah, I understand that you don't completely agree with the premise that I start from.
Sure.
If you hate where you're living and you have any capability at all, you shouldn't stay there. And then if you leave and your landlord sues you for breach of the lease because you've moved out, and if you have a legitimate reason why you moved out, that you were being harassed, that your landlord was a peeping Tom, that he would come into your house at night and go through your underwear drawers, whatever it was, and we've had all of those, then you entertain that and say you hate an absolute right to break his lease. I don't get, and the example that I always give and have given for a quarter of a century is, if you go to a restaurant and you order a sirloin steak and the waiter brings it over and you cut it and you taste it, you say, oh my God, this steak is bad. And you proceed to finish the steak, and when the bill comes, you say, it was the worst steak I ever ate, I'm not paying the bill. Not in my world. In my world, if you cut into the steak and say, you know what, I'm not eating this steak that costs $42, bring me a bowl of Cheerios for $12, that I can understand, and that's fair. But if you stay in the house and eat the steak, and there's not something that really prohibits you. I mean, if you're somebody who's challenged and you're living in a small group home, and it's not easy for you to find another facility, that's a whole different ball of wax. This is a man who says he's a CEO of a company with 20 employees. That's what he told me. And he's living in a place where he feels harassed and his girlfriend can't stay past 9 o'clock. You know, I have zero sympathy for that.
I can appreciate that. I think just the undertones, this particular situation, I may agree with you a little bit more after hearing your reasoning, but I do think it can be more challenging than you and I realize on occasion to move. I mean, that can be a big deal. And of course, he held himself out as a CEO with 20 employees in what he said was successful business. I'm thinking that that wasn't the case, and he was a little maybe too embarrassed to state that, but that was my position. So
yeah, but that's the answer he gave.
If you have the opportunity to leave, that's what you should do. I agree with that.
And he left. And he came here with his girlfriend. Now, I don't know if they're living in the same place now, but certainly she would come to visit him. That was one of the things that he was objecting to, that you couldn't stay past 9 o'clock. Well, so you put your tushy in the car and you go to her house, which is 2 cities away. I have zero sympathy. If you ate the steak, you're supposed to pay for it. So you were at the park.
She came up to fight me. That is not true.
It seems as if somebody was kicking somebody.
That was me. I kicked her.
That was your fault.
Yes, ma'am.
Love a person who tells the truth all the time.
This is Judy Justice. Bailiff Cassandra Britt is standing in for Bailiff Kevin Roscoe, and Law Clerk Alexi Mincer is sitting in for Law Clerk Sarah Rose. Honesty Butler is suing her former friend. Walteria Flowers, for the cost of a car and stolen property.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Good morning, Judge. Case 3074, Butlers versus Flowers.
Thank you. Miss Butler, how long have you and Miss Flowers been friends?
We became friends around the summer of 2022.
How?
We both lived in South Carolina, and then we both moved to Jacksonville, so it's kind of like we were just friends.
Did you see each other often before you decided that you wanted to buy her car?
Yes, ma'am. She used to come and pick me up all the time, and then I used to see her around the town that we lived in before we moved back to Jacksonville.
You didn't have a car?
No, ma'am.
Did you have a driver's license?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever have a car?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened to it?
I wrecked it.
You broke it?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you do that?
It was my fault. It was a failure to yield.
Oh, so there was a crash?
Yes, ma'am.
That was your fault?
Yes, ma'am.
On what day did you have a conversation with Miss Flowers about purchasing her car?
It was December 12th.
Of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of car was it?
It's a 2010 Chevy Malibu.
When did you purchase it?
It was 2021, March 2021.
And why were you getting rid of it?
Because I had another car and I was getting another car too, so.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid $8,000.
Lexi, would you look up a 2010 Chevy Malibu?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 2-door, 4-door, I don't even know how many doors.
4-door.
How many miles did it have on it when you purchased it?
It was 130.
Now, interesting, because a year later, you agreed to sell the defendant that same car for how much?
I agreed to sell it to her for $4,500, but I was selling it as is.
Just a second.
Okay.
Go back. We're going to get to as is in a second.
Okay.
That's not the final price you agreed on with her based upon these records.
No, ma'am.
What was the final price you agreed?
It was $4,000.
Is that right?
No, ma'am.
It was $3,500.
Yes, ma'am.
So the ultimate price that you agreed to sell the car for was $3,500.
No, ma'am. It was $4,000.
Show me. Show me 35.
Yes, ma'am.
Private party, fair condition, between $6,000 to $7,800 for fair
6,000 to 78.
6,000 to 78.
Thank you. Okay, well, it was 4,000, but because of things wrong with the car, you said I'll take off $500 from the original price because there were more things wrong with the car than she originally thought. Is that what happened?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, it sounds to me, even at $4,000, you got a pretty good deal.
Yes, ma'am.
Because of what Lexi has told me about the current value of the car, which is the low end, $6,000, and at $3,500, even I would buy that car. It was a great value. This is what your case is about. It is your claim that you made all but $100 worth of the payments
Yes, ma'am.
on the car, and then the defendant, unbeknownst to you, came to your house at night and repossessed the car.
Yes, ma'am.
You say you only owed her $100.
Yes, ma'am.
Defendant says you owed her $7,000, but I think she's relying on the $4,000 figure. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's where the discrepancy is, and you took the car back.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Part of that had to do with, I gather, the two of you having an argument.
Yes, ma'am. We fought.
Two of you having an argument. I'll get to that in a second. Because you have a counterclaim.
Yes, ma'am.
You want the money back that you put into the car.
Well, not actually what I paid for the car, and also the belongings that was in the car.
Okay, let's get rid of the belongings. She did have some stuff in the car.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have it with you?
Yes, ma'am. I have some of it with me, like her debit card and her purse that she had in there.
Okay, and what about the iPad?
She never had an iPad in there.
Okay.
I took a picture of everything.
Okay, Cassandra, would you go over there, please? Take all of that stuff and move it over to the other table. Those cards belong to her?
Oh, this one's my ID.
Okay. So now you want back what you paid for the car.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant says you didn't finish paying for it. She had every right to repossess it. Let's take care of the car first.
Yes, ma'am.
How long did you drive the car?
From December of 2022 to May of 2023.
The beginning of December?
No, ma'am. Around the middle, like
All right,
My
so-
first payment was on the 12th.
Okay. When did you repossess the car?
I got it June 4th.
So let's make it January, February, March, April, May. So you had the car 5 months.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have the car now.
Yes, ma'am.
So she owed you really $100 when you took it back. Who paid the insurance on this car?
Everything was still in her name.
So she paid for the insurance. Is that right? Did you have insurance on the car or not?
No, ma'am.
No. Let me understand this. She's driving around with a car that's in your name that doesn't have insurance on it.
Yes, ma'am.
Where is the car now?
It's parked in my yard.
Where's the title to it?
I have it.
I'd like to see it. And you repossessed the car just a few months ago, is that right?
No, ma'am. June 4th. Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's a couple of months ago.
Oh, okay.
Great. Where's the back of this title?
I just sent it as evidence. I don't have the title with me, but that's the title. It's in my name.
Have her sign this. You're signing over the title to the car for her. Sign it over. I'll notify. Sign it over to her. We're going to give you the $100 that she owes you. Sign it over to her. You do understand, Miss Flowers, you came here to court today from where?
Jacksonville, Florida.
And you want to get home, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you've got an appearance fee for coming here?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. All that's being withheld until you sign the title over to her. Do you understand?
Okay.
Great. Okay. So now you're going to have 5 days to get your car.
Your Honor.
And I'm awarding her on her counterclaim. You got your property back. I'm awarding her on her counterclaim. So far, $100, because that's what you owed her on the car. And it was done a few weeks ago. The car is there. Within 5 days, with a marshal, go and pick up your car. Do you understand? Okay. Within 5 days of today's date, she's coming to pick up the car with a marshal. Don't do anything to the car because you're not getting any cash until she has the car.
Okay.
Got it?
Got it.
Perfect.
Honesty Butler claims her former friend, Walteria Flowers, owes for the cost of a car and stolen property. Walteria is countersuing for the balance of the car and an assault.
Now, let's get to your counterclaim. I've already given you the remainder owed on the car, which is $100. But now your counterclaim is about an assault. Tell me when this assault took place.
It took place on June 3rd.
And what date did you retrieve the car, just from my memory?
It was June 4th. Well, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, so it was right after this fight?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So why don't you tell me what happened?
Me and her, after, we got into the little argument about the car, I blocked her on everything and I just told her what she owed me. So she proceeds to threaten me, saying she would be at my house in my car, her and her cousin. So me and my...
Can I see what you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she tell this to you on the phone or in texts?
In text, miss.
I'd like to see the text.
I have a voice recording of her saying it.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to see that. It's even better. Though I'm deaf, it's even better. Now, is this argument, by the way, while you're looking for it, this argument was about the balance due on the car?
Yes, ma'am. It was something before that, but then it led to the car. I guess it's the service in here. It's having trouble.
You don't have service?
If you don't have service on the phone so I can hear it, I'll look at the texts.
Okay. Right here. Okay, yeah, this.
Thank you. Okay, so before I read these, I gather from the plaintiff there was an incident that preceded June the 3rd.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And tell me on what date that incident was.
Okay, June 3rd, we got into this.
Well, I know what happened on June 3rd, but that was about the car.
Oh, no, ma'am. It was earlier that day that we was talking about whatever happened.
Okay. Well, why don't you tell me about that?
Okay, so it was something going around on social media about people being behind a fake page or whatever. So I was exposed on a fake page. She was exposed
on a fake
Snapchat or something. It was something like people saying bad stuff about people on the Snapchat. So
you understand that?
No.
Okay, so it was someone made.
I thought it was a younger thing, and I just didn't understand it. So that's
okay.
Explain it to him.
Okay, someone made Snapchat, right? Okay, someone made a Snapchat that nobody knows like who it belongs to. They posted pictures of me on there saying bad stuff about me. They posted something about her also, and about my baby's father and other people. So Honesty texts one of the girls that they thought it was behind it and told them that it was me. By me and her still being friends, I was lost. Like, why would you text someone that's not even friends with you saying that it was me? So she said, and I have it in the text message, in the evidence, she says that, and if I did say that, what? Y'all shouldn't be behind fake pages anyways. Y'all too grown for that. Keep me out of that. So I said, to solve all that, just pay me the money you owe me. To make it fair, just pay the money you owe me for the car, and I sign over the title, and we have nothing else to talk about. Then I blocked her. So then she gets on Instagram and texts me and made a voice message about, oh, I don't owe you such and such. I'll be at your house when I get off in your car or whatever to fight. So me and my friends was at this park called Lonnie C. And Honesty came out there and went live, was on Facebook Live, and I have the video, and was saying all kind of stuff on the live about me towards me. And that's when she came up to fight me, like at the park.
Your Honor, that is not true.
Yes.
Okay.
I have the evidence.
Did you?
Yes. Rumors were being spread, but
On the internet.
on the internet, no one knows the source of the rumors. And then there were some allegations that maybe it was the defendant who was the source of the rumors.
Right.
Says not true, escalated, and then started live streaming a fight.
Right. She gets.
Okay. You have the live stream?
Okay.
Okay. So we just hit the play.
Yeah. Before.
Oh my God.
Lie, you a lying. I got all the messages, and don't play with me about no $700, because bitch, I will be at your house when I get off work. Hold on, play with me. I don't owe you no $700, and you know I don't. You better find somebody to play with, bitch.
Works and plays well with others. Isn't that a check-off sign someplace? Okay, tell me what happened when you met with each other.
I was at the park already, me and my friends, the witness.
What were you doing at a park? How old are you?
I'm 21.
What do you do for a living?
I'm in nursing school.
How old are your children?
8 months and 2 years old.
Who do you live with?
It's me and my boyfriend. We got a house.
Boyfriend, the father of these two children?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were at the park with your friend with your children?
Oh, no, ma'am. It's just me, my friend, and my other friends. They always have stuff at the park, so.
Where were your children?
Well, one was in South Carolina, and the other one was with her grandmother.
Which one was in South Carolina?
My 2-year-old.
Who was in South Carolina?
I'm from South Carolina, so my family is there.
Who was the baby with?
Oh, her godmother.
Why?
Because we just sent her down there occasionally be with her godparents.
Okay. So you were at the park. You went to the park.
No, ma'am, that is not true. I was with my friends and my cousin, and they had a graduation party. My friends was there. We went there after work. We was at the park first, which I can pull up the video and show you we was at the park first. They came to the park afterwards. I did not hit her first. She walked up to me because in the video, you're going to hear my friend saying, friend, turn around, turn around. She hit me, and I don't understand how it's assault because as they're breaking up the fight, none of the people I was with
May I
broke up the
see your
fight.
video
Yes,
where
ma'am.
she hit you first? I'd like to see that.
Okay.
Honesty Butler has accused her former friend, Walteria Flowers, of taking her car without permission. Walteria is countersuing, claiming Honesty assaulted her after taking the car back.
She's going to show me a video, Miss Flowers.
Yes, ma'am.
And her video, according to her, let me just get this straight, is going to show you hitting her first.
No, ma'am, it's not.
It's not. I'm sorry. It's not going to show her hitting me first, but it's going to show me walking, and my friend is going to be saying, turn around, turn around. When I turned around and basically I dropped my phone, she hit me, and that's when we went to fight.
But that's not going to be on the video.
You're kind of going to see it a little bit.
All right, I'll take a look at it.
Okay.
A little bit is better than nothing, usually. You have also things that you want me to see on your phone?
Yes.
Would you get them up, please, so I...
Oh, it's up.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am, I can.
Thank you.
I have the fight right here. This sound is right there. I already turned it. The only thing you have to play is the play button.
Okay, while she's looking for us, I'm going to take a look at this.
And here you go.
Who's the one on the ground?
I'm on the bottom. She's on top of me.
It's terrible. I don't understand it when women fight. It's just so. I mean, I can't understand when men fight either, but you sort of expect it of them. But I never understand how women can do physical contact with other women in anger. Can't understand it, not in anger either. All right, let me see what she's got.
She better come right here and let this house need me. Oh my God. Give me the phone. All right, bitch, be coming right here. What?
It looked to me like there were times in that video when she was on top and times when you were on top.
I never got on top. She kicked me in the face and all while I was down. I would never got on top.
Just said, were you wearing the red pants?
Pajamas, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you were wearing the red pants. Right. I'll take a look at your pictures. It seemed as if somebody else who was in that mob, and it was very hard to tell, was kicking somebody.
Your Honor, that was me. I kicked her. We were fighting, and her witness is she jumped in the fight and she actually hit me in the head.
Love a person who tells the truth all the time. Right. Thank you. No. Okay. Ladies shouldn't fight. You shouldn't be in the same place together if you're not getting along together. You don't go to the park together. But this was a fight. Looked to me from that video is that you were both willing participants in that altercation. So I'm dismissing your counterclaim, with the exception of the $100 that she owes you for the balance of the car. So in this case, the car is transferred permanently to the plaintiff with her payment of $100. Your counterclaim for assault is dismissed. You have 2 children. Do you have kids?
No, ma'am.
Okay, well, don't fight. It's not ladylike. All right, we're done. We're done. Court is adjourned.
It was not a bad car. It is now because I don't know what she did to it, but it is not a bad car. But I'm just glad she got it back out my hands.
I took good care of the vehicle. I got it fixed multiple times, spent almost $2,700 into getting the car fixed.
It's just messed up, like drivable and everything.
She told me that she reported it stolen since it was in her name, but she actually kept a spare key. And she came into my yard at like 3 a.m., I believe she said, and she just drove off with it while I was asleep.
I guess because she's immature, and some people just do immature things.
We're no longer friends.
I think what we saw in there was 2 women square up, get into a fight. Obviously, no one wants to see it, a terrible result, but you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, and the court is not going to step in and figure out what happened here.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. People generally shouldn't fight. I always find it unnerving when I see women who are supposed to be triple process thinkers, all women, but especially somebody with 2 young kids. Take yourself out of harm's way. Don't put yourself in harm's way. But if you do, don't ask, you're right, don't ask, of course, for your help.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Bây giờ mình sẽ tô phần biển phía sau nhé. Mình sẽ sử dụng màu xanh dương để tô cho phần vòng cổ. Có một viên đá trước khá là to này. Cái viên này thì mình sẽ sử dụng vào tí viên tô. Chiếc áo thì mình sẽ sử dụng màu cam để tô nhé. và mình đã hoàn thành xong bức tranh tô màu của hôm nay. Cảm ơn mọi người đã theo dõi video này của mình. Tạm biệt các bạn nha.